Let's look into Earth in 2026, shall we?
Okay, here's some big new findings on the asteroid Bennu. Now, this has got other connections that go all with it too. Bennu, the asteroid, is actually one of the things gives the foundational idea for the phoenix rising again from the ashes. And they started this video here with a nebula, which I believe is the one found in Orion, which is crazy, and I'll get into that in another minute too as we go into this findings that are here. And the major findings here will be at the end, but it's only a 3-minute clip, and I'm going to try to add to it things that'll make more connections to you. So big findings on this. Let's just first get into it.
So buckle up. Scientists sent a spacecraft 63 million kilometers away to an asteroid called Bennu. The spacecraft grabbed a chunk of it and brought it back to Earth. Since then, scientists have been analyzing it, and they found some truly insane things, with the most insane being announced this week. What we already knew from this sample is that the asteroid had high carbon content and water together. And together, those indicate the building blocks for life as we know it on an asteroid. It's also rich in nitrogen and organic compounds, and it's also covered in a mineral called serpentine, which looks a lot like a rock we find here at mid-ocean ridges underwater. Scientists,
which is crazy, and because it looks like this asteroid is componented of an ancient water world that used to actually have life on it. Now, let's talk about that Orion Nebula connection for a moment here. I did a recent video where they figured out our trajectory through space ends up showing that whenever that nebula formed there, it made a pillars of creation situation where millions of stars or hundreds of stars were being built out of it, and it appears that our solar system was ejected from that idea, and that's where our solar system comes from. Oddly enough, they believe this asteroid Bennu comes from this place. And there are a bunch of asteroids going around, and we all know that. So it looks like these asteroids, with what they contain, may have brought pan-spermia, which is life from another source. When I was a kid, I came up with this weird idea that an alien would just have to come by and take a 5-gallon bucket worth of swill and throw it off in the ocean, and it would start things off. But you could start things a whole lot better by having things that are real essential to it, not even the bucket of swill concept, but something more primordial. Now, they believe that this comes from this planet, or an ice planet, or a water planet, actually, which was apparently in the Goldilocks zone of way back when. And when that got destroyed, it became some of the asteroids that whipped around and landed on Earth and may have seeded the Earth with life. So that idea of a phoenix and rising from the ashes really has a connection here too. Let's just go on and show you more connections and how deep this goes.
Think that this asteroid is a chunk of an ancient water world that has been traveling through space for billions of years. Gets crazier. On Earth, life uses 20 amino acids to create proteins. They found 14 of them on this asteroid. Also,
wow. So they're finding all these things that are attached to this asteroid that really only can come from a planet that had life on it. It gets worse. You know the guanine, adenine, thymine, and how that hooks up to make RNA and DNA and all of life and everything? How many did they find out of the 6 that are, or the 5 that are known here?
You know the 5 nucleotide bases that are used to create DNA and RNA? How many do you think were found on this asteroid? All 5. Okay, now for the...
Just wicked, right? So it's showing that idea of panspermia, and that's been an idea all along, that all it would take is some other place that had life on it kicked out to us, because we can do the same thing to other planets, and we know that. But what is weird is they also find certain bioessential sugars that are on that asteroid Bennu. And those are showing signs of having to been somewhat complex life, if not fully complex life, and all we've got on the asteroid, of course, is no skeletons of any creatures or anything like that, but it has these things connected to it. And there's 3 findings here which are all enveloping on the concept. So
Announcements from this week. Scientists announced that on the asteroid, they found sugars essential for biology, specifically ribose and glucose. If ribose sounds familiar, it's because it's in the name for RNA. But remember the nucleobases? This means that all of the components needed to create the molecule RNA are present in the asteroid Bennu.
So I don't know how much into any of this that you are, but this actually is showing us a pan-spermia effect and how life might have actually started on the planet. And they're trying to figure out, well, how it all did. Well, now we'd have to go to a fact of how did it ever happen on here and get to that point. And of course, if we have 14 billion years versus 4 billion years, we can get a whole lot closer to it happening over time and things like that, and somehow happening, but still there's this external spark that causes it. And it's possible that we were looking for life in our pond, and then somebody threw that bucket of swill or a few asteroids that contained all these things on it, got in the ocean. Here we go, things just start happening. Isn't it amazing? But there's more.
Has huge implications. It could imply that RNA is more prevalent in the universe, and it could be the dominant form of early life. In the second paper, scientists also found a gum-like substance that nobody had.
So it's weird, but now it makes you think somebody stepped on a piece of chewing gum like type thing, and their DNA being on that, along with the other stuff that's on this asteroid, may kick up. But what's weird is it's a polymer type of thing, and that just doesn't make any sense. We wouldn't expect that to be on any type of asteroid, but yet here it is. They found it in that sample that they got. And they didn't take the whole asteroid and check it out. They just took a little handful of stuff off of it, and they got this. So the 14 out of 20 they could have found, if they could do this 3 or 4 more times, they might find 16, 18, 19, 20, and so on. They might also find some other things about it, which would be interesting. But let's go on for the third thing and the ending here.
Has ever seen on a space rock before. Ever. And finally, scientists found an unexpectedly high amount of dust produced by supernova explosions that...
Well, doesn't that make sense and go with the idea that that supernova in Orion that caused the Orion Nebula, apparently where we came from, would have created this dust that they have that collected onto this asteroid, along with probably the planets that we have and everything else. It's probably a component of just about everything, or can be found in a certain point, but it wouldn't really make much happen falling onto an ice planet or something so caustic as one of the other planets, or getting too close to the sun like Mercury. But if it hit in a Goldilocks planet that contains water and is enough like that, now you have this separate terrarium Earth situation. Are you following me? And then it could take off from there.
Predate our solar system. There is some huge space news, but it's a lot, so buckle up.
Yeah, so this asteroid Bennu seems to be showing us many things, but if you can take that extra component from these other astrologists or astrophysicists that figured out, yeah, we came out of Orion Nebula in the first place, and this, so it's showing you that Orion Nebula probably had life a long time ago, and then it went supernova, and it caused these problems here, but yet left a remnant that had enough stuff on it to where that might have kicked off life on Earth. And again, they know we came from the Orion Nebula in its situation, like the pillars of creation, we came out of that situation. So this is just making a lot of connections at one time. But at the same time, it's amazing because it's not just, oh, something neat we found, so on, but it shows you all these building blocks of life, complex sugars, certain things that are like not going to, and I don't know where the chewing gum comes in. I mean, the joke down in the comments is somebody stuck their chewing gum to their shoe and it went off and it created new life. But the amazing thing here to me is that all of this goes together, and if you take that other paper where it says that we came from Orion and the nebula and the whole situation, this could be showing you panspermia directly and how life was created on Earth. Let me know what you think down below. Pretty interesting though, huh?
Focus. Breathe. When you're ready, hit straight through it. You got this. Whoa!